Hi everyone, welcome back to Excel Step by Step. In this video, we'll learn 10 more useful Excel functions that every beginner should know. We'll use real examples and explain everything step by step inside Excel. Let's begin. First, let's learn a more advanced version of the if function called nested if. A nested if means we place one if function inside another if function. In this example, Excel first checks whether the score is greater than or equal to 90. If that condition is true, Excel returns excellent. If not, Excel moves to the second if function and checks whether the score is greater than or equal to 70. If that condition is true, Excel returns pass. Otherwise, Excel returns fail. As you can see, I have a table here with students' names and their scores. I want Excel to classify scores into 3 categories: excellent, pass, or fail. In cell C2, I type equals if B2 greater than equals 90. First, Excel checks whether the score is 90 or higher. Then I type excellent. If the condition is true, Excel returns excellent. Now we start another if function inside the first one. Next, I type B2 greater than equals 70. Excel checks whether the score is 70 or higher. Then I type pass. Finally, I type fail. If neither condition is true, Excel returns fail. Think of nested if, like asking multiple questions one by one. If the first answer is no, Excel moves to the next question. Now, I drag the formula down to the other cells. Now let's use the AND function, and checks whether all conditions are true. In this example, Excel checks if the salary is greater than 5,000 and the score is greater than 80. If both conditions are true, the result is true. Otherwise, Excel returns false. In cell F2, I type equals, and then I enter the first condition, C2 greater than 5,000, and the second condition, D2 greater than 80. Here, it returns false because both conditions are false. Now, if I drag the formula down, Excel checks the values in cells C3 and D3. Since both conditions are true, Excel returns true. The OR function is similar to the AND function, but only one condition needs to be true. Here, Excel checks whether the salary is above 5,000 or the score is above 60. If at least one condition is true, Excel returns true. In cell G2, I type equals, or C2 greater than 5,000. D2 greater than 60. It returns true because at least one condition is true. Now, if I drag the formula down, Excel checks the values in the other rows. For cells C3 and D3, both conditions are true, so Excel returns true. For cells C4 and D4, both conditions are false, so Excel returns false. Now let's learn the len function. Len stands for length, and it counts the total number of characters inside a cell. In cell H2, I type equals len, then select cell A2, which contains the text. After pressing enter, Excel returns the total number of characters in that cell. Excel counts letters, numbers, symbols, and even spaces. For example, if the text is John Smith, Excel also counts the space between the first and last name. This function is very useful when working with IDs, passwords, usernames, or text validation. Now let's learn the trim function. Trim removes extra spaces from text. In cell I2, I type equals trim, then select cell A2, which contains the text. After pressing Enter, Excel removes unnecessary spaces and keeps only single spaces between words. This is very useful when cleaning messy data copied from websites, reports, or other systems. For example, sometimes names or text contain extra spaces before, after, or between words, and trim helps clean them automatically. Extra spaces can cause problems in searches, lookups, and reports, so trim is very useful in real-world Excel work. Now let's move to another useful text function called Upper. Upper converts all text into capital letters. In cell J2, I type equals upper, then select cell A2, which contains the text. After pressing Enter, Excel changes all letters to uppercase. This function is very useful when standardizing names, IDs, product codes, or other text inside a spreadsheet. Now let's learn the lower function. Lower changes all text into lowercase letters. In cell K2, I type equals lower, then select cell A2, which contains the text. After pressing Enter, Excel converts all letters into lowercase. This function is very useful when formatting emails, usernames, or cleaning imported data. Now let's learn the proper function. Proper capitalizes the first letter of each word. In cell L2, I type equals proper, then select cell K2, which contains the text. After pressing Enter, Excel automatically changes the text into proper format. This function is commonly used for names, titles, and formatted text inside spreadsheets. Now let's learn the find function. Find locates the position of a character or word inside text. In cell M2, I type equals find, then inside quotation marks I type the letter A, followed by a comma, and then select cell A2, which contains the text. After pressing Enter, Excel returns the position number of the letter inside the text. For example, if the letter A is the second character in the word, Excel returns 2. This function is useful when searching for specific characters or analyzing text data. Excel counts characters from left to right starting with position number 1. Example: for Sarah, S equals 1, A equals 2, R equals 3. If the text does not contain the letter or word we are searching for, Excel returns an error. As you can see, John and Mike show an error because they do not contain the letter A. Now let's learn a useful professional tip. To avoid showing errors, advanced users sometimes combine find with if error. To make our spreadsheet cleaner and more user-friendly, we can use another function called if error. If error checks whether a formula returns an error. If there is an error, Excel displays a custom message instead. I click the same cell that already contains the find function. Now I go to the formula bar and place the find function inside if error. Before the find function, I type equals if error and open parenthesis. Inside if error, I keep the find function. Then I add a comma and type not found inside quotation marks. Now, instead of showing a hash value error, Excel displays not found. This makes the spreadsheet cleaner and easier to understand. We nested the find function inside if error. Now let's learn our final function in this video, substitute. Substitute replaces specific text with new text. In cell N2, I type equals substitute, then select cell A2, which contains the original text. Next, inside quotation marks, I type the word I want Excel to replace, which is John. Then, after another comma, I type the new word, Jack, inside quotation marks. After pressing Enter, Excel replaces the word John with Jack. This function is very useful for correcting repeated text, fixing spelling, or updating data quickly. And those are 10 more useful Excel functions every beginner should learn. Practice these functions inside Excel to become more confident using spreadsheets. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.